resolution voicing opposition to the visit to the U.S. by officials from the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and by members from the Vietnamese Communist Party. I move as recommended.
Seconded.
Can we have motion second to approve?
I'd like to speak, please.
All right, please.
So thank you very much. I appreciate and I will support the resolution 8.5 before us today. However, I'm very disappointed and offended this council seems to abuse the type of anti-communist resolution when it gets itself in trouble with the Vietnamese American community, almost a way to cover up all the bad deeds that have been made. Somehow thinking that the Vietnamese American community is too naive to see through all these tricks. This resolution is purely symbolic. It has no bark and no bite. It has all bark and no bite. It is designed to play into the lingering anger of the community has toward the communist regime. Let's go back briefly in history and remind all of us why our Vietnamese American community, the refugee, won't forget where and how we got to this point, or how we got to this great country. Okay, after the fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975, the communist government shut down the free enterprise in Vietnam, and the government began a systematic persecution and imprisonment of the members of the former South Vietnam military. And anyone who has ties with the former South Vietnam government, with limited opportunity to grow under the new regime, many families with added burden to the connection of the former government will fall into poverty and despair. Civil rights were violated, private property was confiscated, and thousands was abused and tortured. Approximately 300,000, mostly former military officers, were immediately arrested and sent to hard labor prison. This mass incarceration was believed to be both a mean to revenge and a sophisticated technique of repressions and indoctrination of the prisoners. My families face similar fate as the rest of the people in Vietnam. Our family business was shut down. Land that my family owned, approximately 30 acres, was seized by the government and turned into a communal property. As a result, the Vietnamese Americans living in the United States are very angry with the Vietnamese Communist government. In comparison speaking, if you can convince Jewish people to forgive what Hitler did to them in the Holocaust, then you will understand the anger that our people have toward the Vietnamese government. Well, within the past few weeks, there's a couple of things that are happening. The Vice Mayor Ho and Councilman Nguyen, gave an official city certificate to Ananda Entertainment at a Valentine's Day event where a pro-communist singer, Dan Vinh Hưng from Vietnam, was a main attraction. He's the one that sparked the protest, and a resolution number 4923 will pass in December of last year. And then, the mayor on March 5th just gave an official resolution of accommodation to a actress from Vietnam. And then naming the Black April as a Vietnamese American month without consult with the leader of the Vietnamese American community. So I was part of that. I was at fault because I trust that my colleague did the research and consult with the leader of the Vietnamese community, but apparently they did not. So these incidents within a few weeks has sparked an outcry within the community and the leader of our leaders against my colleagues. For the record, I was not officially aware or officially invited to either incident mentioned earlier, even though all of our name was on these certificates and resolution. We have the right to voice our objection against the communist government of Vietnam. But the timing of it is not right because we are trying to cover up for our mistake, whether it is intentional or not. It appeared to be used as a distraction to other issues that are being discussed on the city council lately. Did we consult with the Vietnamese American leader in the community to see if this resolution is appropriate for Black April? It appeared to me that the members of this council have not only are out of touch of being pure arrogant to believe that if they don't need to be in contact with community leaders about community before placing the so-called anti-communist policy item on the agenda. April is a month of mourning, honoring and remembering those who have fought and make the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom and democracy of the people of Vietnam. Only Vietnamese communists celebrate in the month of April. The citizens of this great city already know all the plays in the playbooks of a predominantly Vietnamese American council at this point. Allow me to name a few, right? Number one, when you know that the residents are angry and want to show up en masse to oppose a sudden item on the agenda or action of the city council, what do? We move the city council meeting to 5 p.m. instead of the regular 7 p.m. so that you don't have to face opposition against your action by the community, since no one will show up at 5. We'll be wrong. Most people go to work until 5, pick up the kid, do the errand. So 7 p.m. will give them enough time to be able to participate the most democratic way to show up at a city council meeting.
Councilmember,
by the way, the mayor did not respond to my text asking him why we would meet at 5 p.m.
With the respect of other council members,
I have the right to speak, sir. Okay, I'm almost done. So, and then play number 2 is establish an ad hoc committee to bury the opposition agenda item. Every time the majority of this council doesn't like
this is not on the agenda. But
I'm addressing this.
But you mentioned it's not on agenda. I have the right to not asking you to not speak something not on agenda.
You see, attorney.
This is the item we speak.
It's up to the chair. The chair runs the meeting.
Yes. Okay. So you only speak on the item on agenda.
Well, I'm addressing this agenda item is basically a form of distraction.
I think that the way you speak,
I want to be able to present to the people in the city what's going on in this council.
City attorney, I am a chair, right?
Correct.
So you already spoke.
So
that I mean, like with respect for.
I'm almost done.
No, I said that we have the motion and second on the floor.
Yes.
Well, I have to be able to discuss the motion. I mean, the resolution.
You talk about resolution only. You don't talk about something else. I'm sorry. It's not on agenda.
The intent of this resolution is
you
not...
You talk about resolution only. You cannot speak for something else.
I recommend call for the vote.
We call for the
We have to be able to voice as an elected official, I have to be able to voice my...
Yes, you can voice
my
item
concern
only.
about this particular resolution.
City attorney, am I right?
2 things. 1, you are correct that you control the meeting. Number 2, the Brown Act does provide an elected official the opportunity to make a reasonable presentation. If the chair believes that the presentation has gone on too long, he does have the right to cut off that conversation because
How long is too long?
It's up to the chair. The chair decides.
I think the
legal standard is a reasonable period of time.
So how long is too long when...
Okay, we have the motion and a second on the floor. We have the motion and second on the floor, and you mentioned that the resolution...
Well, if you let me finish, it could be done by now.
But I make sure that
interrupted. I was rudely interrupted for the record. I was rudely interrupted, and I was not allowed to speak and discuss the issue at hand here, the resolution. I'm not against it, but I want to address the reason we keep having anti-communist resolution on this particular city. Okay, I agree, 50% of the population are Vietnamese, but what about the rest of the city? We need to work on the issue at hand here, which is reduce the risk management liability that the city incur from lawsuit. Okay, from city employee, we need to set up check and balances so that we can stop the lawsuit.
I think that you speak beyond the content of the item.
We need to lower the taxes instead of This is a main extraction of every city council meeting. We are in the
I think I call for the question of this item because I have that right. I'm a chair of the meeting, so excuse me, ma'am. I run the meeting. No. Let me finish.
You know, we can't just discussing about anti-communist every council meeting. We need to work on the city. We need to work on the city and move the city forward, lower the taxes, and protect everybody, not just a little Saigon.
But you make a statement that this resolution is mean no more than symbolic, and then so I encourage you to vote the way you believe. But I believe even this is no more legal binding. But this is what I believe. This is my stand. This is Councilmember Wing's stand. That's what we come up with this resolution. And then you mentioned earlier that Councilmember Nguyen and Vice Mayor Ho participate in the event with associate with like a single controversial person, but you actually have the photo with the singer. Now we have the motion and the second.
I was on the city council back then 4 or 5 years ago when the photo taken.
Okay, we have the motion and the second on the floor. Vote, please.
That motion carried 5-0 to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster voicing opposition to visits to the United States by officials from the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and by members of the Vietnamese Communist Party."
All right. So we have comments from City Council NC member, including AB 1, 2, 3, 4 report requirement. Sorry that I have to go unless you have something really to announce. If not, I adjourn the meeting.
I just want to ask that we put an agenda item for the next council meeting to ensure that if we have a special meeting or any meeting that requires a quorum, that we tape it, videotape it, or record it so that there's no misunderstandings in the future.
Okay. All right.
I just want to thank you, the community, to come out here and speak either for or against any of the motion. I mean, this is a democratic society, and I encourage everybody to practice their constitutional right to come and speak in front of the city council. And I loved those who speak Vietnamese, and I hope that the city manager to provide translation, qualified translation. No disrespect to you, sir, but we need a professional translator to. I don't know if we need a city council approval for that, but with the way that it is, we need to have a Vietnamese translator to assist.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody that in an effort to help streamline the process of entitlement, I have asked starting last week that anybody who has anything to contribute, if you have gone through the process, you're not happy, and you would like to see a change, please contact me at City Hall. Just shoot me an email or call me, and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Next meeting will be Wednesday, April 10, 2019, 7 p.m. in Council Chamber. Meeting adjourned.